I know, Pony. We are on a very, very wet. Ooh, autumn is truly here. Cause he. Oh, it's raining. It's very, very cold, but I forgot my gloves again. So I'm gonna have to make sure that I'm switching hands to hold this my phone today, because see, it's cold. It's probably absolutely gonna tip it down. Oh, good afternoon there to someone joining us. Afternoon back to you. Yeah, it's just starting to rain, and I tell you now, you can probably see from my background, it's absolutely gonna tip it down in a moment. So this today's good morning walk could be definitely not so much as a good morning walk. It could be a good morning getting caught out in the rain. But yes, these are the trials and tribulations we have now that we've properly moved into autumn. It is well and truly here, and it's already starting to rain already. Oh, dearie me. Dearie me. Yeah, someone from, good morning there from John or Sutherland, didn't see that. So someone says, same in Germany, it's raining, not surprising. Oh, good morning from someone else there. Whew. Yep. Autumn is well and truly here, and you know what that means? October. And of course, you know what it means for Boris? Deadlines. We have talked before about Boris's deadlines for Brexit, which we are absolutely, don't worry, we are absolutely going to get into. Phil, it's a bit grim for a walk. Well, as they always say, it's a bit grim up north. Anyway, yeah, it's about to tip it down up here, Phil, and I can highly think that for part of this walk we might be hiding under a tree for a bit, for at least the rain to be to wait for a bit. But yes, here we are. But I think first of all, we're going to obviously start off with, as you've probably all not only saw, but the US presidential debate. My word, my word! I didn't watch it live, but I sort of wish I had done. Was anybody expecting that not to happen? Because I knew it was going to be bad. I knew instantly it was going to be bad. But I didn't expect it to be like that. I mean, you had Trump arguing with the moderator. You had him just constantly just speaking over Biden. And it just, yeah. I mean, for someone like Trump's supporters and his base, that's going to, not be a turn-off for them. But for anyone who's probably a moderate Republican or like one of the swing voters, that's probably going to generally reflect quite bad on Trump and his party base, really. So I can't see Trump certainly winning any votes than he already potentially already had. Oh, good morning there, someone. So there was that, and it was essentially just a complete and utter disaster as a debate from start to finish. Biden was a bit sleepy, but he did have some really strong moments. Like Trump really went after his family at one point, and that's where you saw Biden really come alive and, you know, be awake. So that's almost certainly what we want to see more of in future. And of course, as a response to this, a lot of the other news channels, because they all take it in turns to host these debates, they all draw lots to see who gets it first and whatnot. A lot of the other news channels have all gone and said we're going to change the format of how it is. Oh, hi from someone there. Welcome, welcome to the welcome to the good morning walk. It's a bit rainy, a bit muddy out here in Yorkshire, but just to be expected from some good October weather. I think we'll be having definitely seeing these scenes for some time to come. The other thing, of course, in American election news is, of course, Trump's got the Rona. Was anyone shocked by that? I always thought it was only a matter of time. Always thought it was only going to be a matter of time before Trump got the Rona, because he was, you know, it's like, you know, you had Boris, who, like an idiot, was going around hospitals without a mask, without gloves, without any sort of form of protection, just shaking people's hands. So of course it was only a matter of time until Boris got it. And yeah, surprised he didn't get it a few months ago. Yeah, that's been my wonderings as well, because he's had he's done rally after rally. You've even had what was it? There was that rally where there was that other Republican who was like exactly the same like Trump, of, you know, he was refusing to wear a mask, and he died of coronavirus as well. And of course we've had updates. I don't know if you've all heard this morning, but apparently Trump yesterday, literally almost after being confirmed that he had the coronavirus, has now been taken to a military hospital. Of course, Trump is definitely in the very high-risk category for coronavirus. He's also very, very evidently not fit. Given how much cheeseburgers he seems to eat, from what we've heard from reports already initially from the White House. But there you go. He's apparently already on a I can't remember the name of the drug that he's on, but they've already reportedly put him on a drug that stops your lungs from shutting down. So it's very, very obvious that very quickly he's been really hit hard by this virus. Really hit hard. Could the coronavirus claim him, shall we say? Not beyond the realms of possibility. Not beyond the realms of possibility. He's been, you know, as we said earlier, he is in the high risk category of what essentially is, you know, the coronavirus percentages. So he is very, very high risk. He's not in very, very good shape. So the chances of him succumbing to this virus are probably quite high. And it's been so funny that we've seen Trump for so long try and like deny that this virus was a thing, or it was just a sniffle that you could walk off easily, and now he's got it. Part of me, when I first heard it, part of me thought it was a bit of a publicity stunt, just to say, Donald can say, oh look, I've had the coronavirus, I'm fine, type thing. So that to me, initially, but now that we've heard reports that he's been taken to a hospital and he is on a drug that essentially stops your lungs from shutting down, which definitely has escalated. It's really, it does seem really serious that obviously it has escalated from, oh yeah, you're positive for the virus, from straight to in a hospital and on drugs to, well, essentially stop your lungs from shutting down. Very, very clear there that the situation has definitely escalated from bad to worse very, very quickly. But then, that's the coronavirus. It is something to take serious, and yeah. And Trump didn't, which sort of, I want to say, serves him right. From that point of view, but does serve him right for not taking this virus seriously. And of course, the other part of the presidential debate was Trump's absolute own open goal to essentially not disavow white nationalism. Just absolutely unbelievable. Generally, it's just quite shocking how you can put that question to someone and just not even say no. But of course, obviously, the organisation that got mentioned, the Proud Boys, are absolutely fantastic about that, because they got name checked in a presidential debate. So they're wonderful about that, and almost immediately we're printing T-shirts for them to stand back and stand by. And of course, this does feed into huge. I've said very quickly, the American elections on election day, I would not be surprised to see violence at the polls. I would not, and I really don't want there to be violence, but because of how Trump has set this up, that the election's going to be stolen from him. The American elections are going to get very interesting very quickly. Of course, I'm very tempted to do a video about Trump's latest pick, because for the Supreme Court as well, because oh boy, is she a piece of work. Turns out she's a member of a religious cult, and has signed several bills and stuff in the past for essentially just wanting to straight up get rid of Roe v. Wade, which is, of course, the big piece of legislation in America that allows abortions to be legalized. And you know, we said it back when obviously RBG died, that the Republicans and especially the Christian far right in America were not going to pass up this opportunity to essentially take control of the American Supreme Court. And there have been a lot of people saying that if Trump does win re-election, there is a big possibility of essentially there being now a 2-7 split in favour of conservative judges and especially the Republicans. So it just goes to show you just how important this election has suddenly become. And it really has become a moratorium almost on Donald Trump. And I think it will come down to, first of all, how many Democrats get out there and vote. Because we know that Democrats are the ones that are taking the virus seriously. And of course, they're also the ones that are most likely to go and postal vote as well. And of course, not surprisingly, Donald Trump has been playing up into the fears of, you know, postal votes are, you know, they're rigged, they're against the system, and the election is going to be stolen from him. And then you've got to ask that question of, well, now Trump's been priming his core audience and all these, you know, militia groups. What on earth is going to happen? There's going to be absolute chaos. Also, there was immediately after the election, Trump's official campaign office released a tweet for people to sign up and become poll watchers. And that is clearly an attempt to try and intimidate people away from the polls. Because if you think you go to the polls and you might be a minority, and you see a bunch of, you know, heavily armed militia at your poll station, what on earth? You know, it's just straight up intimidation that he's trying to advocate for there, and it's just unbelievable. You know, what is it, the famous phrase of, oh, it could never happen in America? Well, you're seeing it happen right now in America. The whole thing of, you know, what was it? How could people just stand by and, oh, we've got a beagle. Morning. You know, how could people just, you know, stand by in, you know, Nazi Germany and let all this stuff happen while you've literally been seeing it being happen for days, you know, on end throughout this whole election period. And it's really worrying because obviously if Trump does win the election, a lot of these people are going to be even more emboldened to a point where I think if you look at what happened in Charlottesville, I genuinely seriously think you're going to get something that makes Charlottesville look like a, you know, essentially a foam playroom. And that's what's truly worrying. Really weird, really worrying. But, you know, just hope he doesn't win. Really hope that he doesn't win. I'm very tempted to do a live stream on that night, but I don't know. We'll have to see. I don't want to sit there by myself. I want to see if we can get some other YouTubers in on it as well, and we'll sit and watch as it all rolls in. But yeah, hopefully, he doesn't win. Otherwise, it is going to cause a lot of chaos. I can tell you that now. So that's, I think, America. America covered thorough enough for today. Back to Blighty, as they say. Oh. So, what's been going on this week? Well, obviously, October, and October is the big month where it could all go down and where it could all happen, and it's difficult to, I've said this before, but it's difficult to say where this is going to land. Obviously, the EU have essentially issued a legal challenge against us, which is right, because as we've said from the very beginning of the internal market bill essentially breaks international law. Of course, it's going to go to the Lords, and the Lords have basically up and down said, yeah, we're not going to pass this bill, don't be silly. But we'll have to see what happens in the Lords. I think it's this week it goes to Lords. We'll have to see. And that could be very interesting. Obviously, Boris, just a couple of months ago, allowed put a load of Conservative Lords in to essentially try and help stuff get passed. And that's super worrying. But on the plus side is the EU would have been fully within their rights to just stand up and just walk away from any of the negotiations. So in a way, it is a good thing that the negotiations are currently still ongoing. But we have two deadlines here. We have the EU's deadline, which is the end of October, which has been in place for quite some time now. And then, of course, last month, we had Boris Johnson very, very arbitrarily decide to put his own deadline in place of mid-October. So the 16th to the 18th of October. And we're going to see, I definitely think, in the next 2 weeks, you are going to see an absolute flurry of activity. An absolute flurry of activity when it comes to what's going to happen on Brexit in the next couple of months, whether it's going to be a deal or a no deal. Now, I've said before that I think it's going to be a deal. Even with all this bluster that Boris is having, he's going to have to climb down. And that's why I think you've seen this week Michael Gove also went with David Frost, who's our chief negotiator, to essentially start that climb down. And we've had word yesterday that Boris tried some online negotiations with Ursula von der Leyen, the current EU president. We don't know how that's gone, but nothing's changed of what we've heard. And the EU have their red lines, which they've said from the very beginning, we're not going to compromise the single market just for you, UK. You're either in this single market and you obey the rules, or you're out of the single market and then essentially you do what you want. But there are rules and you have to follow those rules. So very, very interesting times, definitely for Brexit. The other interesting thing, of course, happened this week. We've had yet more financial firms flee London. I think it was something to the tune of about £1 trillion have gone, as well as at least over 7,000 jobs have been transferred over to banks' European branches, because so essentially the London financial that a lot of Tories were especially banking on post Brexit to be able to attract new businesses and all this stuff, to say, oh, look how wonderful, you know, Brexit is, when London's the only one that's succeeding. But there you have it. You know, as someone just said there, what was it? Yeah, we were told all this the day after the vote in 2016. Yes, we were. Yes, and people like me have continued to say this because it was true. Of course, it got labelled Project Fear by the Leave side, and of course, Project Fear is now very, very, very quickly becoming Project Reality. To, if you've been listening to any of my, you know, videos or content just over the past 4 years, you know, we sort of told you so it was going to happen. So this really comes as no surprise. So we've had a load of not only money leave the UK, but also financial jobs leave the UK. That's probably only the start of it. But very interesting, we also had Boris as or Gove. We're not 100% sure from what we've heard, but apparently we've put forward, this is the UK, have essentially put forward that for fishing, what we're going to do is we're going to stay in the keep all the current arrangements of the EU fishing stuff for the next 3 years. So essentially, what Boris has done there is he's desperately trying to kick many of the issues down the road. So essentially, we quote, get a deal, and then hopefully, as Boris is hoping, that people forget about fishing and can either just carry on as normal, or Boris can do some big patriotic thing about, you know, I'm trying to defend our fishing rights, and not really in reality. But of course, this is one thing we said again, that people like Boris and especially Nigel Farage were not the fisherman's friend, to use that old mint. But yeah, Farage and co, especially Leave, have just used and abused British fishermen. Of course, we've discussed this hundreds of times on my channel, talking about Brexit. That, you know, the British fishing industry is worth probably something like £1.8 billion, which in those terms is a lot of money to someone like you and me. You know, if someone came up to me and offered me that amount of money, you know, I wouldn't say no to it. But when you're talking a country, well, that's just peanuts. Complete peanuts to what's being offered. And you know, this is just typical of what especially the Tory government has continuously showing, is that they are all about short-termism. They're all about those getting whatever they can done as quickly as possible, regardless of the consequences. They just want real quick wins, and this is what they seem to be trying to do now in the in these negotiations. They're trying to essentially kick the can down the road. But ironically, this is exactly what Theresa May and especially David Davis was trying to offer people back then when they were in the off and doing this type of thing and doing these negotiations. They were saying, oh yeah, we'll do these deals and then we'll agree to this, but then what we'll do is we'll discuss them down the road. And you know, that's not what happens in these types of negotiations. You know, and of course Boris and everyone else. Oop. 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 There we go. Oh. Got a dog joining us here. I think we've got to. Have we? Oh no, it stopped. I thought there was a dog joining us there. I thought that's going to be quite weird. Just having a dog follow us. Oh no, he's here again. Hang on. Where is he? There he is. Still following us. I don't know if you can see him. There he is. There he is, in the background. But yeah, the idea that somehow, you know, the Tories and especially the Leavers were going to somehow stand up for, you know, fishermen, given how little the industry is really worth to the UK. And we've said before in videos when we've covered this, the real problem is you have big multinational companies who have massive ships that can essentially do in a day what it takes these smaller ships, which are the fishermen who are the ones who are continuously protesting and, you know, aligning with Farage and whatnot. What they do in a month, these big ships can essentially do in a day. And losing their abilities to be able to take their catch to the EU, which is where the majority of fish goes, by the way. Again, just another how a fisherman, you know, adapt to that. We just don't know. But it continuously goes on and on and on, and it's just, of course, fishermen are the next lot, I think, a group of people to essentially be betrayed. Because if you're Boris Johnson right now, and you're thinking, cripes, I've got a lot of stuff on my plate, I better betray someone really quick for a really quick win. Well, think about it this way. I think it's the UK car manufacturing is worth something like, what, 80, I think it's something like 85 billion pounds. Now, we said the fishing industry is worth something about 1.5 billion, roughly roundabouts. Which industry are you going to go for to support? Because I tell you now, it's not going to be the fishermen. And I said this very clearly back when all this very first started. You think Farage and all these people are going to try and, you know, stand up for you, the fishermen? No, never were. We're just absolutely Oh, someone's putting a new way down here. Oh, we go. Well, at least now we know what that rule was for. So the British fishermen are just absolutely about to get well and truly screwed again. But that's not a surprise, because the only organisation in industry that was actually looking out for British fishermen was the EU. You know, but when you've got, you know, and well, I always love using this statistic because it just shows how much of a quote friend to fishermen Farage really was. When Farage served on the European Fisheries Board, out of, what was it, 36 meetings they had, he turned up to one and didn't say anything. So that was the voice, the man who was meant to be the voice of British fishermen said nothing, and of course British fishermen suffered because of that. Because there was just no one voice, there was no one to speak for them, even though Farage has constantly said throughout the referendum campaign of how much a friend he was, how much he was fighting, and yet given the actual opportunity to stand up for British fishermen and be, you know, a voice on their behalf, he didn't really do much of he wasn't really much of a voice for them. But then that's, you know, not surprising. You know, fishermen for Farage were just a very nice, convenient political tool. It was just nice to talk about. You know, I'm standing up for British fishermen when, you know, in reality, never stood up for them at all. Oh, just passing more horses. At least we're not passing them on that tiny trail like we were a couple of weeks ago. That was a bit hairy. That was a bit of a hairy moment. I felt there. So it's come to this really bizarre, you know, point now where, as we mentioned just a couple of weeks ago, Boris is going to have to betray someone. It's just how big those betrayals are versus, you know, what they are. And I've always said continuously on this channel, you know, Brexit, when it comes to reality is always going to win. Oh. So yeah, there's that. But I expect huge actions in the next coming couple of weeks for Brexit. And of course, as someone just said there, how's the new job going? It's going pretty well, actually. A lot of work to do. This is I'm really proud, actually, working for a very small Barnsley company that has essentially exploded to become a big, you know, national tool for the mortgage industry. In fact, we won an award recently, yesterday. So I was, of course, as their new marketing manager, I was having to do a lot of work yesterday to start crying about, you know, how fantastic it is we've won this award. But a lot of work ahead of me. A lot of work ahead. Yeah, obviously this is a company that has never had marketing before, and now they do. And if you've ever been in that situation before, you know how much work I've got to do. But yeah, fun though, very fun. Let's get rid of some of this mud on my shoes, because I can feel my feet just being like weighed down by mud. But there we go. Well, there we go. At least my feet feel a bit lighter. As it is absolutely tipping it down. Oh, excellent. Someone's put a question in. I was going to say, well, let's go straight to the questions because it is absolutely well and truly tipping it down today. I think this is probably going to be a lot shorter walk than we would normally do, but I think this might be the theme for the future. Oh, greetings from Texas, so good morning to you. But yes, if you want to get your questions in, please do at me so I know that it is a question and I will answer it. So we've had someone come in here, which is perfect for a first question. So this is from Barken Stefan Velen. I think that's how you say it. I don't know, but it's good morning. Do you think there will be a Brexit deal now? Max Robespierre and a different bias says that he thinks there will be a deal since the PM had a video conference with Ursula von der Leyen today. I absolutely think there will be a deal because there is no way on God's green earth that Boris Johnson spent, his entire election campaigning for a deal, then not to get a deal in the situation that we are in now. Remember, think of the situation we are in now. We are in an absolute Brexit, not only a Brexit recession, but the Corona recession, I suppose we'll end up calling it historically, probably. We are the only country in the world that currently has such a recession, and also we have been very, very uniquely affected, more so than others. And you've got to ask this question: why have we been hurt so bad compared to others? And it had nothing to do with how late or how early we locked down. It is because of Brexit. That is the key factor here that is affecting us more than anyone else. And because of that, we are in a really, really odd situation, and that is how bad we've been affected. But we did say this, how bad we were going to be affected, and it's just piled on. It's piled on and piled on and piled on. And is one of the good things that the coronavirus has done is exposed just how fragile our economy really was when you look at other European countries, how their economies have fared. For example, the whole furlough scheme. When Rishi announced that initially, he was hailed as like, oh, excellent, we've got another superstar chancellor. His winter plan already is absolutely horrific in terms of trying to keep jobs open and businesses keep on going. It's not going to sustain them. This is why we called it last week. This is why we've got what's now being called Furloughween, which is not only going to be the whole Brexit scenario comes into contact as well. We've also got furlough ending as well, which is going to usher in huge job losses. My shoes come undone. Oh, we've got two dogs. Morning. Tell you what, let's try. Can we? I'm just trying to put you down somewhere, somewhere where it's dry. Oh, there we go. Oh, there we go. Tell you what, put it down there. There we go. Because I need to. Excuse me this, but my shoelace has come undone, so it's managed to put you down there. But while we're retying my shoelace, if you are new to the channel, please do hit that subscribe button. We do talk a lot about Brexit and British politics, because obviously the two are very, very much interlinked with all this stuff that's going on, and it's going to be with us. The rain is really coming down hard now. Going to be with us for some time to come, definitely. There we go. I think we might just hover here for a bit. But yeah, that's the case. I do think there will be a deal, though. Just to answer that question very quickly, I do think there will be a deal, because there's no way Boris Johnson doesn't do his deal. He has to do one. Labour will absolutely rip him to shreds, and of course he ran entirely on getting a deal. And of course you add all the coronavirus into the mix. He's absolutely, failed in what he set out to do. But there you go. Anyway, I've just seen a donation come in, but we've got, tell you what, I'll read the donation, and then someone else, Flash Mood, put in a question, so we'll go through the donation first, then we'll go back to that question at the top. So this is from Phil Cross. It's have a nice cup of coffee and get warm again. Who do you reckon for new MP, Sunak or Gove? You see, I think Sunak is about to lose all his popularity with his winter recovery plan. Definitely going to do a video next week just how bad that really is, because it's not going to help any businesses at all. And a lot of businesses, Best Western is a prime example. Best Western have said that because of his plan, about 300 of their sites have now become completely, unoperationable. They're not financially viable anymore. So that is huge. Imagine that. Best Western, a big hotel chain, saying that. That's huge. Really is. But yes, thank you for the donation. I will absolutely be getting a cup of coffee when I get back in. Because, it's cold. Anyway. Flash Mood. Do you think a deal could reduce the chance of rejoining? I'll hood up now, because my word, it is absolutely, I don't know if you can see it, but it's absolutely tipping it down there now. But yeah, a deal for us doesn't reduce the chances of rejoining, it increases the chances of rejoining, purely for the fact that businesses in this country need to be linked to Europe. It's so important for them, so very important for them. And this is why businesses have been the ones calling for rules to be announced and released and what they're going to do. But of course the Tories just haven't done anything. And this is again the whole short-termism type of thing that we talked about just earlier. So if we do get a deal, absolutely this doesn't reduce our chances of us rejoining. All it does is it increases our chance, because what's going to happen is we're just going to slide back in. Hey, we got a deal on this. Well, actually, businesses really want to be involved in this again. So all that's going to happen is we're just going to and just slide back into the European Union, because that's just essentially what's going to happen. It's economics in this case will just not be denied. That's essentially where we are. Anyway, it looks like I can't tell because we're under this tree. But I think we'll hover here for a bit more, because I can still hear it tipping it down. Anyway, on to the next question. Where was it? There we are. This is Holger Haas. When do you think the Tories will end Boris? And will Gove be next PM? Greetings from Germany. Difficult, because there was a story this morning. Of course, the Conservative Party conference for the next 4 days starts today, and they were already saying the knives may be out for Boris, but they're not sharp yet. So it will be very, very convenient for them to keep Boris for as long as it is politically convenient for them to keep him around, because just like Theresa May was going to be the Brexit scapegoat, as they use her very often to be the Brexit scapegoat. Boris is going to be used to be the one exactly the same. Both her and Boris are going to be the Brexit scapegoats. And as we just said earlier on from someone else, it is really a toss-up between Sunak and Gove. And because I think Sunak has lost, he's going to lose so much popularity from this winter emergency budget compared to what he had, compared to what he gained from just the furlough announcement. I think it was, prior to that, I think it was very likely it was going to be Rishi. Now, I think it's going to be a two-horse race, and I think it's going to be very close between Rishi and Gove. I do not think there's anyone else really that stands a chance to win that competition. So, we'll just continue on. Oh, I'm just going quickly sliding through some of the comments here. You think there's still a chance that those Brexiteers, that if a different bias was saying, will decline and PM deal if there is any chance of still being no deal if they don't get a deadline by the end of this month? I think the Brexit's already been really settled. There has to be a deal. There has to be. Even the Brexiteers, because they'll just use this as a narrative of betrayal. They're not going to really decline ever. They'll continue well and truly, absolutely, to continue to bash Europe, but they'll just look even more foolish for doing it. Bakura just got in, looked through the comments. See, you've already talked about Trump. Yes, he's in hospital. That has progressed really fast, to be honest. Just from his announcement to straight in hospital to now he's taking drugs that are designed to stop your lungs from shutting down. So it looks like it's progressed very, very quickly. Holger Haas there. How can the country be reunited between Brexiteers and Remainers? Interesting question there. The first thing is as always, is that Brexiteers need to realise and understand what the reality of the situation was that you were, I always talk about this is where we separate the Brexiteers from the Brexit supporters. So really, you're talking about how do the Brexit supporters and people who voted Remain reunite? Well, that happens very easily and very quickly. The effects of Brexit just pile upon them. Reality kicks in. All that was promised during that referendum just doesn't materialise. And we've already said it's not going to materialise. The Brexiteers overpromised and just cannot deliver on any of the promises that they said that they were going to deliver upon. So we're going to just start moving again now, and hopefully we don't get caught in another one of those sudden downpours. So there we go. So a reuniting of the two sides, it will actually just come down to just the reality of the situation. The Brexiteers or the Brexit supporters are going to realise that they got conned by these Brexiteers and that nothing was happening. Brexit was sold to them on that it would make their lives better, and us being out of the EU doesn't help make their lives better. It makes their lives infinitely worse. Not only that, but with the furlough ending, we're looking at mass unemployment in this country, the likes of which we probably haven't seen since about the 80s. So we are heading for some incredibly tough times. And all these areas that voted for Brexit are also going to be the ones that get hit hardest, not only by this, but also the coronavirus as well. So it's going to be an absolute double whammy to them. And then the Brexiteers are just going to be left there trying to explain just what happened. Because the Brexiteers told them, we leave the EU when your life somehow improves. We had just recently, by the way, the what they call now, the Migration Council or something like that. But they're a group that monitor migration and emigration to in and out of this country and like what jobs are needed. And they've already said that we need more skilled workers in this country because our education system and whatnot just doesn't train enough people to get them, skilled in and through the door. So if you I always remember this very clearly from being young, was you saw a lot when freedom of movement very first came into this country. You saw a load of British plumbers, electricians really hammer home and complain about Polish plumbers undercutting them and undercutting their prices and whatnot. But that was because, once again, there just weren't enough skilled people coming in. So British plumbers and electricians and whatever could just essentially charge whatever they want. They even had patches of, if you were in this area and you called an electrician or a plumber that wasn't in that area, that plumber could get into some serious trouble just by entering another plumber's patch. And now then you had all the European labour come in with extra plumbers and workers come in, and they start to realise, hang on, I can make my own business in this country, and all I have to do is charge essentially a reasonable price and do a good job. And that's exactly what happened. And as a result, you saw all the English plumbers and sparkies and all these home improvement people have to lower their prices because they were being undercut by the competition. And that's capitalism. And yet they complain. We see all these Brexiteers complain about that happening, but perversely they want that type of competition and they complain about that stuff. So very interesting times and very hard times coming ahead for a lot of people that voted for Brexit in this country. But anyway, well, hang on, where's the next question? Oh, someone in there. In worst case scenario for the unity of the UK, who do you think is going to break apart first? Northern Ireland or Scotland? Difficult really to say. I'd put my money on maybe Northern Ireland doing it first. Because one of the big things that especially the Scottish nationalists, or the SNP and the Scottish nationalists, love to talk about is, oh, don't worry, we'll rejoin Europe. Well, that's not going to happen straight away. There is a process, and it is going to take some significant time. And I criticise Scottish nationalists constantly on this channel for doing exactly what the Brexiteers did, about saying how the grass is greener on the other side, and not really talking about the reality of the situation. So I criticise them on that quite often. But as I've said, I don't have a skin in that game. I know people up in Aberdeen and Edinburgh, just through like my JCI connections. And if Scotland wants independence, then I say vote for it. But you have to. I'd say that the Scottish people should know fully well of what is going to happen when they vote for that. Yes, you've got independence, but that means everything else that comes with it. And I very often don't say that the Scottish nationalists, if you took a Brexit speech and replaced the word Brexit with Scottish independence, or you took a Scottish independence speech by someone like Nicola Sturgeon and replaced it with Brexit, they look exactly the same. They look exactly the same. And that's what I'm very much against. I think if you are going to do it, tell people the truth and be honest. But there you go. So definitely in Northern Ireland, I think doing it first, I think. Oh, someone else here. If there is to make a top 12 of most annoying, stupid Brexiteers for you in your opinion, From worst to least, what would look at the top from most worst Brexiteer to least? Oh. I don't know. I mean, if we're going to talk like top Brexiteer, I think you'd probably have to go with like Nigel Farage, probably at like number one. Then you'd probably follow him with someone like Gove, then like Rees-Mogg, and things like that. And then towards the end, I don't know where you'd go for number 12. I don't know. That's something I'd have to think about. But yeah, that's an interesting idea for a video. A top 12 list of Brexiteers. That might make a good end of the year video. That I'll have to definitely put some thought into that and reasoning behind that, and how you'd position people on that list, and like why some people deserve that position that they're getting. So I'd have to like make up criteria and stuff like that for it. So I'd have to put some thought into where and when they'd get positions. But yeah, we'll have to see. Oh, someone here, Alan Saxon. What do you think about Nissan and tariffs? As more than 50% of sub-assemblies are from Japan and Turkey, so these cars cannot be sold into the EU tariff-free. Exactly, they can't. So what will happen is Nissan and all these other car factories will just reduce their capacity in the British plants and just increase them in European plants so they can sell them there. I mean, we this is, that's basic business sense. It doesn't make sense to have a European business and have a hub in the UK now. But we've said that right from the start of this whole thing. But Brexiteers just didn't listen to us. We've already seen the Ford plant has announced, I think, massive layoff they're doing. So yeah, I fully expect to see other car plants like them follow that lead. Maximilian Rosebear is in here. Good morning. Dude's here as well. Just looking for some more questions. Somebody joined your channel, and his name is Italiano Mamma Mia, the one and only Maximilian Robespierre. Well, good morning to you. I keep on saying me and you need to do a live stream at some point, but we just never get around to doing it. But yeah, actually, since you're here, I don't know if you'd be interested, but I'm thinking maybe we get some like smaller YouTubes, like around our size, and we get together on like, what is it, November 3rd or 4th, whenever the US elections are, and we watch the US elections live and just laugh from the comfort of our seats. Oh yeah, that's a good point actually. What about Gibraltar? Oh, this is something that I have to admit I haven't really looked into. But yeah, that could get really interesting, the area around Gibraltar. And you are right, it is something that we need to really talk about, but I have really neglected it because the far more important border has always been the Northern Ireland situation issue, and that's really much dominated this whole situation. So it's really hard to say whether or not that whole Gibraltar issue becomes a bigger issue. But it's definitely, yeah, you are right. That's something that I actually missed out a lot recently on my commentary, purely because people really aren't talking about it. So definitely something I'm going to have to look into. Yeah, someone else get on a live stream with Bowler Hat Man. Yeah. True. So this is something that we've talked about before. What will the Tories be trying to sell the country mid 21? What will the narrative and aims be? Um, hmm. Well, as it is the Tory party conference for the next 4 days, we might find out what those aims might be, because obviously Boris Johnson has talked at length about, quote, levelling up the country in like these poor areas. But of course, he's never actually talked how he intends to do that. So of course, this is just, you know, a fancy slogan for Boris just to throw about. You know, we're going to level up the country, or we're going to level up this area. Just a fancy slogan, really, at the end of the day. Whether he can actually do it is another question entirely. But yeah, it'd be very, very interesting to see. But I think probably whoever becomes the next Prime Minister, because I really can't see Johnson lasting long. I've always said, you know, Johnson will either gift himself as a Christmas present to all of us, and he'll go then, or he'll probably go around April, Mayish time, I suspect, maybe something like that, and just do the whole, you know, George Bush mission accomplished thing, and, you know, pass off the job, or as I've said before, somehow Boris is going to somehow miraculously survive, because, you know, it's Boris Johnson. This is what he does. He miraculously survives fiasco after fiasco and keeps on ticking. He will somehow manage to survive until the next election, but the Tories realise that he's just too much of a liability and jettison him for someone else. Those are like my three Boris departure dates, and it's just a matter of question, see where he goes. Yeah, we also need lots of beer when we do that, definitely. The thumbnail promised us horses, still waiting for them. We've actually had some. We had some at the beginning. We've had some at the middle. So, although I can't see, are they there? Or are those cows? Oh, I can't tell. Can't tell from here. They're just black blobs. Oh, that might be fun. We might have some cow close encounters of the herd kind, by the looks of it, with the cows encroaching upon us. We'll have to see. Election night, three-way watch. Yeah, that will be. Yeah, socially distanced from America. That's it. Yep, the good ship Brexit sets sail on January 1st and will immediately sink on the 1st of January as well. Oh yeah, that's something else. That's something else I was going to talk about. The whole internal Kent border. We just got word that this internal Kent border that they're trying to erect to try and avoid this whole disaster, it's going to be governed by this incredible, I don't know if you've heard about it, but we have this apparently amazing future tech that's, you know, almost cyberpunk in reality, that's somehow going to engage with this border. Of course, this technology, as we've said before, doesn't exist, and that is somehow going to be in place to govern this internal Kent border, that is somehow going to avoid catastrophe. So as you can see, we have our ports are going to be in chaos. There's then going to be this internal Kent border, which is going to be governed by a system that does not yet even exist. Can you see the problem there, kids? Because I can. Someone here, Phil? Oh. Yeah, someone else doing another live stream suggestion there. Yeah, I definitely think if we could get like a small group of like YouTubers who are like, you know, political commentators, like, you know, myself and Max together on like US election night, I think that might be quite fun. Though I think we'll have to work out with the timings what it would be. But yeah, I think that would be quite fun. I'd definitely be up for that. But it's just who else do we invite? If anyone else knows other people, we don't want big names. We just want, you know, nice small names. You know, we'll all group us all together, and we'll be the we'll socially distance from the American elections from afar. That'll be quite fun. Yeah, independence for Kent. So you mean to make one for TDR News? Yeah, like I said, I think it would definitely be fun to do it. We'll have to see. Yeah, correction, not cybertech, Star Trek tech, force fields and tricorders. Yeah, that's yeah, of course, that's what the government's plan for monitoring that Kent internal border. Yeah, this is good from Phil. Speaking as an IT professional who's worked in the public sector for 20 years. Yeah, yeah, you know full well the chaos that is about to occur, and it's going to be fun to watch. I tell you that now, fun to watch. Do, do. Do, 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 do. Nope. Well, this is it. Look what Weaver Spell's saying, that Max and Phil are communist. Well, we're all communist to people on the right, so doesn't surprise me. Doesn't surprise me. Someone else, good morning, greetings from the Netherlands. Whoop. Doo-doo. Mm-hmm. Oh, and I'm caught up with the comments now. Oh yes, it's we're definitely having here close encounters of the herd kind now. There they are. I promised you horses, but you got cows. Oh, look, there's some horses up here. We can say goodbye with the horses underneath the bridge. Then I think we'll end the stream today because it still looks like it absolutely might tip it down a bit. So, oh. But yes, anyway, thank you to everyone who's been with us today on the stream. It's been absolutely fantastic as always. Always good to get up, get out and have a walk. You know, have a talk about the week that was in politics. Oh, we've got, you see, I promised you horses and I do deliver. So, absolutely thank you to everyone for joining us today. As always, it's been an absolute fantastic time. Please do like the stream as always, share the videos, join us next Saturday. We do start around about 8 o'clock-ish. Depends on when I get up. And of course, I promised you horses, and here they are. So with that, as always, please do, if you are new, please do hit that subscribe button. We talk about British politics and Brexit all the time. I'm just a bit nervous because this horse is eyeing up my microphone. But if you would like to support me a different way, I do have a one-off donation link and a Patreon link down below in the channel description. Thank you to everyone who has supporting the channel already. Thank you. Thank you so much to everyone that's joined us today. And as always, having a nibble at my laces. As always, have a wonderful weekend. Thank you for joining us. See you all next weekend, or we will have videos coming out as well. And of course, if you can't be safe, if you can't be safe, be sensible. And of course, something we all learned from here: never stand in between ponies, because there's one eyeing me up right behind here. So we're gonna get out of here, because I don't know if they're gonna gallop or whatever, stampede, but they might do. So enjoy your weekend. I know I will. And we'll see you all next time on A Good Morning Walk.